and welcome back to Cars.co.za. I'm David Taylor and I'm behind the wheel of BMW's new little street fighter, the M135. Now, before I get into this review and we discuss if it actually qualifies to be a hot hatch, remember Cars.co.za is not just a cool YouTube channel and social media platform. We also have vehicles for sale. Right now there's over 83,000 vehicles for sale. Right, I think it's time to have some fun and let's get some music going.
Cars.co.za, Cars.co.za.
Okay, let's get into it. This is the BMW 1 Series hatchback. Now, BMW says this is an all-new model, but if I look at it, I would go, really? Is it really? If you look at the design, especially at the front end and the overall shape, dare I say it looks more like a facelift of the older F40 generation, not to be confused with Ferrari F40. But yes, okay, fine. It's a brand new BMW 1 Series with a code name of F70. Now, what exactly has changed? Well, we can talk about that in a bit, but this is all about the performance metric. We're going to have minimal consumer information here. This is all about whether you should be choosing this over a Volkswagen Golf R, or an Audi S3, or a Mercedes-AMG A35. The M135, remember that the I is falling away because BMW has said if anything has an I badge, it is all about electric, and there's nothing here. Let's talk about the BMW M135's engine. Now, as before, it's a 2-litre 4-cylinder, but when you look at the outputs, there's something that was a bit of a red flag for me. So yes, power's up 233 kilowatts, but torque has dropped by 50 newton meters and is down to 400. Yet somehow, the 0 to 100 time, the claim time that is, remains the same at 4.9 seconds. Now, I dug through the press release of BMW and went through all the dynamic and fascination and BMW and sheer driving pleasure. And I went through all the technical specifics trying to work out what exactly has happened. There wasn't much clarity on why 50 newton meters is suddenly being cut from the engine, but I have a theory, well, two theories. One is emissions, and we all know that the European Union is constantly throttling and cutting back on the regulations. So cars have to be quieter, less dirty, and so on. And the second theory is that there's a transmission change. So this transmission, I think they've cut the torque to make it a little bit more durable, a little bit more reliable. But let's talk about this transmission because it's the biggest change on this car. The 8-speed automatic gearbox that's been on duty in multiple BMW Group products, that was a conventional automatic. Now that 8-speeder has been ditched in favor of a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Now the advantages of a dual clutch are simple. I mean, it's just a much quicker shifting unit. Yes, the ZF was brilliant in its own way, and you could change gears and it would come oh so close to replicating that dual clutch rifle bolt shifts. But when it comes to the real thing, you just can't beat a dual clutch. So as mentioned, BMW claims a 0 to 100 of 4.9 seconds for this new model, which is pretty impressive considering there's 50 newton meters less. So let's test that. Okay, so drive. I'm now going to go to my modes, sport, gearbox sport, individual settings, driving dynamics, sport plus. Okay, left foot hard on the brake, accelerate, launch control active. Okay, let's go. Second, third, and there's 100. That's not bad. It still feels pretty energetic. And I noticed that there's a couple of little pops and bangs coming through the car. Now, I'm not sure if these are the exhausts or through the speakers. So we're going to have to investigate that. Now, yes, BMW claims 0 to 100 in 4.9. I've done 3 runs with my draggy testing unit, and I don't know how, but talk about consistency. 4.91, 4.91, 4.91. I mean, I couldn't have done that if I tried. Now, I want to talk about these engine noises. If I listen carefully, there's like a little bop, 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 bop. Does it come off the throttle? So there is some theatrics, and if I dive into the settings here, there's a thing called BMW Iconic Sounds. And then I switch this off, and then the car just became deathly quiet. And that for me is tragic, because if you're buying a performance car, you want the theater. But then this raised an ethical question, because as much as I love a pop and bang out the exhaust, I want to be in control of that. And when I'm sitting in the office and somebody goes past in a S3 or Golf R, whatever, and you hear ba 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 ba, and I just lose my mind. I'm going, no, shush, quiet. So where do you draw the line? I mean, yes, I want some theatrics in my performance hatchback, but I don't want to upset the neighbors. And also, if I'm a neighbor, I don't want to be disturbed by the pops and bangs. So there's food for thought. So now, if you're in this situation and you're watching this video, what would you prefer? Synthesized internal car pops and bangs, or do you want to wake the neighbors? Let me know in the comments below. I want to talk about the driving modes. So there's personal, sports, efficient. If I push the My Mode button, personal I assume is your normal comfort default setting and so on. Sports, self-explanatory, that's your hot hatch performance fun mode. Then there's efficient, which dials everything back, and then you have a relax. But then I swipe to the right, and then I have modes like expressive. I mean, I thought sport was expressing how much fun I want to have. Relax, I mean, surely that's eco. And then there's digital art, and then there's silent. Like, I'm confused. Well, let's try digital art. The sunroof is opening. Cool, getting sunburn. Okay, I'm going to close that. Start audio guide. I don't know what this mode is.
Start with the creation of the 18 BMW art car. With the digital art mode,
it's now playing a podcast about digital art cars. How about no? No, this won't work. Right. I do not buy a hot hatch to listen to podcasts about art. Instead, I'm going to just put gearbox in second, and away we go. Now, as a reminder, the BMW M135, it is an all-wheel drive platform. Yes, slightly front-wheel drive bias, which I know the BMW purists are not going to like. But in a day-to-day situation, oh, the grip is so good. Sean's not going to like me throwing the car around these corners, but good thing we got him early before he had his lunch. The speed pickup is impressive. This is a good engine. But there's a part of me that's going, I want more. I want a bit more engagement. And also this engine, even though it's got the synthesized engine noises, this engine is sounding strained. It doesn't feel like it's encouraging me to press on further. And yes, it's happy from 3,000 onwards. So if I throw it into these corners here, oh, there's so much grip. But this is all very predictable and, dare I say it, boring? Look, the gearbox is great, but it needs more. Like if I buy a hot hatch, I want a bit more excitement. What's my heart rate doing? 86. BMW has fitted the M135 with some really cool sport graphics, so I can actually see what the car is doing. So I'm cruising in 6th gear, no, make that 5th gear, 75 k's an hour, and I can see exactly how much pressure is coming out of the turbo. The car is making 11 kilowatts and 36 newton meters, and then I pile on the power. I saw 233 kilowatts. We got the full power. That's really cool. And it's in real time. So you get to see how much power, how much torque, how much turbo pressure is currently being created. That's a nice touch. I want to talk about these gearbox paddles. Now, the default settings for this car in its sport mode, if you leave the car in full auto, it is not smart. No, rather you want to knock the thing into sport and take control yourself. And then you have full control and you can make the most of the engine. You don't have to over rev it and make all that noise. You can actually use all the torque. There we go. I notice the left paddle has got a button called boost. So let's hold that. Oh, it's got a countdown. Okay, full power, let's go. It says boost. Okay, so this is basically full power Whoa! Full power for 10 seconds. That's actually a really cool party trick for overtaking. Right, F70 BMW 1 Series design, and I am not finding this ugly. I really like the front end, and I love these little narrow daytime running lights. Subtle M badge on the grille, plus some sporty wheels with blue brakes. As far as image propositions go, I think this one makes quite the statement. And while I've spent the morning driving the limits for this BMW M135, I got told by management via an email that we still have to do practical consumer stuff. So there you go, practical consumer boot stuff. Budget cooler boxes, we've got 4 of those. Job done. Okay, can I drive now? Oh, rad, cool, bye. Now, the majority of performance hatchbacks are likely to be driven on the way to work, picking the kids up from school and going to the shops. But when it comes to handling, BMW says this new car has been enhanced. So now the dampers have been tweaked for a sportier ride, the car's a bit more rigid, and the steering feedback is better. So it's pretty direct. I would have preferred something like a Civic Type R steering. That's really precise. But there's enough here that will make you happy. Will it make me happy? There's a part of me that thinks something like a Golf R is a little bit more engaging to drive when you're absolutely going through some corners. Make no mistake, this is one very quick machine, and especially if the road is wet, the all-wheel drive system will keep you out of danger. But I want more! Now, once you finish thrashing this car around the mountain pass, you have to rejoin the real world, and that will probably involve you sitting in traffic between Joburg and Pretoria, and you've got the hands-free kit going, and you're on a call to your team leader talking about the synergies, the low-hanging fruits, circling back, and so on. And then you sit there going, yes, this is a hatchback, but can it actually deliver a premium hatchback experience? And yes, BMW 1 Series, they've tried to put all the emphasis on the performance, but it still manages to be a premium, well-appointed, pleasant to drive hatchback. Like, take this cabin for example. It's a fully digital experience, and I for one am going to miss the BMW iDrive rotary controller. I really like that, and they've fallen into the commercial, popular, trendy trap of putting all the climate control buttons into the infotainment system, so now I have to push the fan button. And also, I'd like to point out that some of the materials used are not appropriate for a vehicle costing almost R1 million. Like this, no, this is not nice. Fortunately, the rest of the package is well appointed, Harman Kardon audio, really nice sporty seats. You can see I'm camouflaged with these. Alright, we're at the end of the video, and now I have to give my verdict. And you've probably, and correctly, made the assumption that I'm not the most in love with this vehicle. And should you buy this over the equivalent Golf 8R, Merc A35, and I believe Audi South Africa is about to launch the facelifted Audi S3. So I'm at a conundrum here, because yes, it does the basics right, but if you had to line up all of those cars in a straight line drag race, I don't think this will be the fastest. But it's got an ace up its sleeve, and that's the price. Because right now, if you look at all of those cars that are available, obviously minus the S3 because that's not here yet, this is the cheapest car. And on what planet do you get a BMW M135 cheaper than a Volkswagen Golf 8R? So if you don't mind not having that 10 out of 10 driving satisfaction, this car will make you very happy. I think the looks are really sharp, and I think in the right paint tone, it's going to be quite a good looking vehicle. But there's a part of me who enjoys the purest BMW experience, and that of course is a 3-litre straight 6 engine. And the closest thing I can think of at this price point is a low mileage demo M240i with a 285 kilowatt B58 engine. Now, how would you get one of those? Now, what if there was a really cool website with free apps called Cars.co.za? And right now, yes, you can get a low mileage M240 for roughly the same price as this. And if you're a BMW fanatic, for me, that's a no-brainer. And remember, Cars.co.za, not just a YouTube channel, 83,000 vehicles for sale. I hope you've enjoyed this review. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and all of those lovely things. Okay, bye.
Let's find what moves you. Cars.co.za.
Hello, you join me and my Fern in the Cars.co.za Cape Town office, where I have been asked to tell you about our new quick search feature in our app. Now, if you don't have our app, it's been downloaded by over 2 million South Africans, completely free. It's in any app store that you use. Go ahead and get it right now. And we've just launched a very cool new feature. It's a first in South Africa. So it's basically plain English search. And this is how it works. You open the app, and in the quick search bar, you just type what you're looking for. So BMW X3 Silver Gauteng, and then bang, hit, I've misspelled Gauteng. Then hit search, and we pre-populate all those filters for you so you don't have to fiddle. And then you get, of all the 72,000 cars on our site, all the silver X3s in Gauteng for you to choose from. That's actually quite clever. I didn't know it could do that. Should probably read my emails sometimes.